Hello everyone, my name is Brian Lopez and this is ICP video number 3, Group Class Management. So for part 1 and part 2, I'm going to go ahead and go over the group class outline, and inside of the group class outline, I will go ahead and also talk about the strategic partnership for part 2, which is how we utilize partners being paired up together to maximize collaboration. That can go ahead and benefit students and make sure that they're learning properly, and also avoid any type of disastrous partnerships that could happen in the way. So going straight into the group class outline. Class first starts off with the review period, which should take no more than 10 minutes. Before class even starts though, students, as they're walking into the class and picking up their Grace and Combatus cards, should be greeted to the school with open arms. The name should be remembered and said, welcome, and make students feel, again, welcome and part of like they're greeting into a family. We want to go ahead and start off with a very good, inviting, very personal environment to begin with. From there, students will go ahead and grab their cards, step on the mat, go ahead and line up on the wall, and wait for the head instructor to go ahead and officially begin the class. Once the head instructor gets on the mat, he will go ahead and ask if there's any new students in class today. If there is, the students will go ahead and raise their hand or step forward, and from there the head instructor will go ahead and ask them to please follow him to the corner while the rest of the class reviews their most recently learned techniques. Make sure that the head instructor advises the students while they're reviewing the most recently learned techniques to give feedback, ask questions, practice the techniques slowly, and everyone helps each other out. Head instructor will then call time, and a review period will go ahead and start. He'll go ahead and take all the new students to the corner, and he will conduct a 10-minute intro. While the head instructor is conducting the 10-minute intro, all the assistant instructors will be walking around the review period for the current students, and they will emphasize their time on students with the least amount of experience. The assistant instructors will go ahead and use the Grace Combatives cards to go ahead and evaluate the students by asking them to do a technique on them and providing any tips that will go ahead and benefit the student during the exam review period, or the review period. While doing so, it is very important also for the assistant instructor to go ahead and make sure that they are praising the students while they're reviewing the techniques, and more importantly, also making sure that they remember the names of the techniques while they're doing it. This is very important because we want to go ahead and make sure the students are connecting the dots and thinking about the name of the technique while they're actually doing the technique. This will get them ready mentally also for the reflex development classes later on. Again, guys, make sure that the students are being praised by the assistant instructors, because if you're not praising, you shouldn't be there, guys. Very, very, very important. So as the assistant instructors are walking around, also assisting the students with the least amount of experience and praising students, providing feedback, it is very, very important and a warning to all assistant instructors that they should not be socializing with other assistant instructors. And again, emphasize their time on students with the least amount of experience to make sure that they're having a good time, they're being praised, and they're available for any type of questions being done. By this time, the head instructor should be done, including his 10-minute intro or her 10-minute intro, and by that time, go ahead and call time and ask the new students to rejoin the rest of the class and have everyone line up against the wall again. During this time, it's a good place for the assistant instructors to go ahead and help out the head instructor by collecting the students' cards against the wall, and this is a perfect time for the assistant instructors to go ahead and remember at least 3 students' names. So go ahead and each assistant instructor will take the students' cards, set them aside, remember the student's name, and then the head instructor will go ahead and begin the standing technique, which should take about 10 minutes. The standing technique will be taught using the slash presentation formula, or SPF for short, where it is very emphasized that the head instructor uses most of his time as efficiently and as quickly as possible to teach the technique, so that he leaves time for questions from students and also time for the students to drill the technique. During this time, the assistant instructor should go ahead and after teaching the standing technique, to go ahead and call any new students to step off the wall. He will then use this time, this is for part 2 of video 3, to go ahead and use a strategic partnership. The head instructor will go ahead and ask new students to step forward, and then any students that have done the classes already to go ahead and remain on the wall. And he will go ahead and make sure personally that each new student is paired up with a student that has a lot of experience already, so that the new student can have the best possible first class, and any question the new student might have will be answered right away. From that point, the head instructor should also use this time to make sure any type of disastrous partnerships are avoided at all costs. This could include someone that's way too small to be partnered up with somebody else that's too big, and avoid any type of disastrous partnerships, or also any type of student that might go a little too rough with someone that could be injured, and maybe find someone that can match that intensity, and making sure that someone that can partner up with someone that's injured and not cause any further injury to the person. Very, very important part of the class to make sure that everyone is partnered up correctly as possible, to go ahead and make sure each student has the best class they can possibly have for that day. So once the strategic partnership has been done, then each student go ahead and partner up and drill the standing technique for that day. So while the students are drilling their standing technique, the assistant instructors and the head instructors will be walking around class and making sure that they're praising the students, giving any type of error correction when applicable and if applicable, and again, praise, praise, praise. After the drill has been done, the head instructor will go ahead and call time one more time, and then go ahead and go into the ground technique, which will take about 35 minutes. So before the ground technique is even taught, the head instructor should have been using the time during the drill time of the standing technique to have been reviewing the ground technique prior to teaching it. During the ground technique, when it's being taught, and however many slices are broken up into this ground technique, it is also, again, very, very important for the head instructor to go ahead and review the manual between slices for details. No exceptions. So while the ground technique is being taught, another very important thing that the head instructor needs to have in the back of his mind is knowing the clock. And by this I mean that some techniques require a lot more explanation and detail, and some might even have way more slices than other techniques. So it is important for the head instructor, while teaching the ground technique using the slice presentation formula, to go ahead and make sure that they are managing the time correctly, giving enough time for questions, and obviously any time for to drill the technique, which goes into drill time. So again, going on what we said earlier with knowing the clock, the head instructor needs to make sure that adequate time is given for techniques. Some techniques can have even prep drills to go ahead and get them prepared for doing the technique. And these can take about maybe 1 to 3 minutes, but it's important for the head instructor to take that into account when teaching the technique for that day for the ground. And then some techniques, again, could have very detailed, intricate sequences inside a technique, and that can take up to 8 to 10 minutes to drill. So again, very important. Head instructor needs to always have this in the back of their mind when they're teaching a technique. From there, the technique will then be drilled by the students, and during this time, again, just like before, the assistant instructor and the head instructor will walk around. Students will be praised, and any type of error correction that needs to be applied to any student will go ahead and be done, so applicable depending on the situation for the student. From there, time will be called, and then this is a good time to go ahead and do any type of reflex development drill if time permits. This is whenever the standing technique, the ground technique, or any kind of possible techniques can be go ahead and mash together to create a sequence where the students can go ahead and put the techniques together. This is also a good time to go ahead and ask any student that has already done technique a few times to maybe ask your partner to put a little more intensity, no more than about 10%, to make sure that the student is practicing the technique with a little more intensity and persistence to make sure that they're doing it correctly. And then vice versa, if a student is maybe having a hard time doing the technique, to maybe ask their partner to lease off on the intensity so they can drill the technique a little more favorable to their needs. From there, time again will be called, and then that will conclude the class in terms of drilling. And this is when we go into the mindset minute. Everyone will be asked to go ahead and stand up, go back against the wall, and the mindset minute will take place. It should take no more than about a minute. And this is where the head instructor will go ahead and piece everything together in terms of the philosophy what Gracie Jiu-Jitsu wants to go ahead and encourage. And this is, again, to go ahead and control, exhaust, and survive. And then from there, apply the technique if it was a joint lock or a chokehold during that day. So again, very important to go ahead and lead off with this mindset minute, to go ahead and leave the students thinking on the ride back home also how everything was tied together, and put into the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu philosophy. From there, again, we're going to the next phase, which is going to be the stride promotion or red tab removal. During this time, the head instructor should have been prepared and cut up as many stripes that he's going to go ahead and award to the students that meet the 20 cumulative classes to be awarded the stripe prior to, and attach them to the uniform. So during this time of the class, they're ready to go ahead and present it to them. He will call out the students that deserve to get the stripe that day, or have the red tab removed up, make sure that people will applaud and congratulate them for their achievement, and any handshakes can be given out, and maybe a little small tidbit needs to be said about the students that could be done so as well. From there, we'll go into the closing of the class, which is going to be the class closure. This should take about 1 minute. The stripe promotion and the red tab should be about 2 minutes. This should be about 1 minute for the final closure. And this is when you ask any new students or anyone that brought a friend to go ahead and please step forward. Please also give them a big round of applause. It's very important that you did the first step, which is coming to class. The hardest thing about jiu-jitsu is starting jiu-jitsu, and congratulate them, make them feel like they're welcome to the part of the family, and then we can go ahead and address the rest of the class, or the regular class, right? And you go ahead and maybe just give some type of foreshadowing for what technique is going to be the next day. You can lead off with something like, hey, tomorrow we'll go over class number 1, trap and roll skate. Make sure you guys review. Hope to see you there. You guys have a good night. Drive safe. And that will conclude class. From there, we go into the team cleaning. So this is done usually at the very end of the day, on the very last class, and you should encourage as many students to help with the cleaning afterwards as possible. Have their mops and the brooms ready, and give them to as many students that want to help out as possible. Make sure that you teach the cleaning strategies that are found inside the manual accordingly, so that people are using the correct cleaning procedures taught in the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu manual. And then remember, guys, if someone's not doing something right, it's or someone's doing something wrong, it's not their fault, it's yours. All right, nice, Nancy. Nice, scoop. One more time, just keep the hip. Good, perfect. Nice, drop the leg, Nancy. Oh, hold on one second. Right here, perfect. There it is. Nice. Get the shoulder. Get both underhooks in. Good. Seatbelt underhook first. Nice. Roll over. Beautiful. Good job, guys. Go ahead and go here on side control. The indicator is whenever I drive my knee here, make sure that you put your elbow right on my knee here. And then as I go ahead and pass, push me, push me, push me. Perfect. Take this leg, trap my leg, grab my head. Perfect. And then go ahead and scoop your hip out. Nice. Put your hand right here on my knee. Reach out. Now over here, make sure you go ahead and grab there. Cross your legs. Take it back to stage 1. Perfect. Any more questions? Thank you very much. Alright, guys. Nice. Carlos, transfer the arm. Perfect. Head. Scoop your head. Drop your foot. Cross. Nice. Scoop. Go on, guys. Can I have your help, please? Yeah, no problem. You want to go ahead and demonstrate what you were doing? Nancy, mind if I step in? Yeah. Perfect. Alright, Carlos, let's see what's going on. Posture up, you're going to transfer the hand, beautiful, grab the head, scoop the hip, nice, grab your leg, cross your legs. Oh, okay, alright, I see what's going on, Carlos. Alright, so real quick, let me go ahead and demonstrate for you what I'm feeling that you're doing, and then we'll go ahead and demonstrate one more time what we want you to do, okay? Alright, Carlos, set up here, you got posture up, I'm going to transfer the arm, grab the head, scoop my hip out, grab my leg, cross my legs. This is what you're doing here. Feel some pressure, right? This is what I want you to do. Okay, Carlos? Nice. Feel the difference there?
Yeah, I think once you squeeze your thighs more as opposed to just pulling the head.
Perfect. That's exactly what I want you to tell me. So you want to go ahead and demonstrate it one time?
Yep, Carlos.
Alright, posture up here. Transfer the hand, grab the head, scoop the hip, grab your leg, cross your legs, and now squeeze and pull. Oh, beautiful. That was it. Perfect, Carlos. Nancy, you want to go ahead and let him throw over time? Careful this time. Nice, Carlos. She's got to go elevate up, transfer the hand, grab the head, scoop the hip, grab your leg, cross your legs, Carlos. Beautiful. Now squeeze everything together. There it is. You felt the difference there?
Oh, yeah.
Nice. All right, guys. Any more questions or anything? Let me know, okay?
No,
Guys,
it's great.
keep practicing. Cool.
Thanks.